Welcome to Beyond Sunday, where we take the conversation a step further to grow in our love and understanding of Jesus.
Welcome to Beyond Sunday. We're so glad to be back with you. My name's Steve. Across from me is Sarah.
Hey, everyone.
And we are continuing on in our Q&A series. We are what's the category this week?
So today is Theology and Bible Knowledge.
These questions were a little bit on the deeper side.
They were good.
Which was really, really good.
Yeah.
But before we do that, as tradition dictates, we have to do some sort of icebreaker.
Yes.
Just to really get everybody in the Q&A mood, right? So we're going to do desert island survival.
Okay.
All right. So this is the scenario, Sarah. You're stranded on a deserted island for at least 1 year.
Okay.
Rescue might come, but it's not guaranteed. You must choose carefully the things that you bring with you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So let's talk about survival essentials. You could pick 3 of these things to help you over the next year. Wait, what island do you want me to drop you off on?
I mean, is this like Caribbean kind of island? Because that's all I have in mind.
It's a Caribbean island. Let's say you're on a cruise,
right?
And
they left
the ship goes down.
Oh, geez. Okay. And I'm
what did you think the scenario was going to be?
They left me behind.
They left you behind. No,
yeah, they stopped at the island.
Most of the islands they stop at are pretty inhabited. This is a deserted island.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the cruise ship goes down.
Okay.
You make it to an island. I don't.
My point is, so we're in like a tropical place. We're not in like Greenland and an island up there.
Yeah, you're not going to be freezing. Okay. You're going to have like, some island goods like coconuts and stuff at your disposal at some point.
Yeah.
If you can get to the coconuts.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, here we go. So first one is survival essentials. Okay, so these are practical items to help you stay alive. So examples would be knife, fire starter, water filter, tarp, rope, fishing gear, first aid kit, and a cooking pot. What are you going to pick?
I'll take all of those things.
Yeah, you can only pick 3. I knew you were going to say that.
Okay. I'm going with, I feel like I need a knife and the fire starter for sure.
Oh, that's 2 already.
I know. What else do I need? Yeah, I feel like...
you get 1 more.
I want the water filter.
The water filter?
Yep, those first 3, and I'm good. I'll figure it all out from there.
I think you're in trouble.
What do you take it?
I'm definitely, the knife and the fire starter are absolutely essential. For sure. I'm taking that cooking pot after that.
I can make a pot.
No, you're not going to be able to make a pot that's going to be able to
Listen, my clay making skills are impeccable.
Here's the whole thing. Like, if you got a cooking pot, you could put water in it, and that's how you could boil water to make it safe.
Okay. But what if there's no like fresh water on the island?
Good point. So you take a shirt, but I'm assuming you have a shirt on.
Is this based on your, island living skills?
I know what to do. All right. What you do is, because I've watched Bear Grylls enough to know what to do in these situations. You take a shirt, and you take that salt water, and as it's like boiling, and the steam is rising, it rises up into the shirt. It collects the water without the salt. And then you wring it out.
Oh my, I feel like that's going to take forever.
You got a year.
I can make a pot faster than you can.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this pot you're making. Anyway. Yeah, first aid kit.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to worry about that. You get an infection. That might be a way of, God getting you off that island quicker. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway. Second one. Food and drink. Okay, and these are renewable, no infinite amounts.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to start off with, do you want a bag of rice, seeds, a fishing net, which I don't see how that's food, but it could lead to food, spice kit, coffee, or survival rations. And it doesn't say how many survival rations you have with you.
Yeah. Okay. So.
You can pick 2.
2?
2.
I thought I got 3.
No, that was the first category.
All right, say them again.
Bag of rice, seeds, fishing net, spice kit, coffee, survival rations. Right off the bat, nobody should be taking coffee. Like, you got to stay hydrated.
Yes. I want the seeds so I can plant stuff.
Oh, good point. What if it's all like sand?
On the island?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do I get to see the island before I choose the things?
No.
If I'm assuming I can grow some kind of vegetation, I'm going with.
You think Tom Hanks in Castaway got to choose what island he went on? No, he just ended up on an island.
I just have to make some assumptions.
Okay. Bag of rice, seeds, fishing net, spice kit.
Spice kit?
That's a stupid one.
Listen, I really want coffee, but I'm going to take the fishing net and the seeds.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I would agree with you in general. I would take seeds, and you got to have the fishing net. You got to try your best to get a fish.
And I don't even like fish, but I feel like I'd have to eat.
Oh, you're definitely going to have to eat fish. If you're there for a year, you're going to be eating, like, that's going to be your main source of protein.
Yeah.
Probably raw.
No, I have the fire starter kit.
Biting right out of the side of that fish.
I have the knife. I'm going to fillet it. I got a plan. It's all going to work out.
It's going to be sushi every day for me. All right, here we go. Third one. Luxury and comfort. Okay.
on a deserted island. Okay.
Hey, man, this is just for morale. That's what it says. Okay. If you, by some grace where you make it, and some of these things float up on the island, what would you want them to be? Pillow, hammock, a musical instrument, a journal, favorite book, or skincare item. You can pick two.
Oh, man. I would like the hammock and maybe a journal, because I feel like you probably would want to, in some way, like, document or keep track of, like, what day it is, what you did when, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm definitely taking the hammock.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be huge.
Yeah.
Just huge. Like, just keeping it off the ground at night, everything. Yeah. And then, I don't know, I'm kind of between, I mean, a book's going to get old after a while. Yeah. I think you're right, a journal. But I'm going to lose interest in writing in that journal almost immediately. So I'm going to say pillow.
Wow. When it's like all you have, you're going to choose a pillow over a book or a journal or a musical instrument?
I couldn't care less about a musical instrument.
Hammock. Huh? You have a hammock.
Yeah, what are you going to put your head on?
I can't use a pillow on a hammock.
Oh, that's true. All right, I screwed up. Let me change my answer. I'll say skincare item.
Skincare item? What skincare item?
I'm going to use sunscreen.
Nah, you don't even wear it now.
I hate sunscreen. Yeah, probably the journal. A book, you can't. Well, if
it's like the Bible, obviously.
That's true. I was just going to say that. I was like, well, I guess I'm thinking like Lord of the Rings, but yeah. Bible would probably come in handy.
Yes.
All right.
Let's get to the real good stuff.
Yeah.
Question 1. A nice, light, easy one for you. Who made God?
Yeah, that's the least straightforward thing you could possibly ask. Yeah, so what we always have to come down to within the realm of faith is that it is just that is like we have faith that God exists, not scientific. There's no scientific evidence proving the existence of God necessarily, right? It's God just always is. Now we can see God in creation, everything that he's created, but there's no way to scientifically prove the existence of God. And that goes right alongside the whole idea of God cannot be proven because he's the creator of all things. And so he stands outside of all things and he's eternal. And we know that from the Bible. And so it comes down to a matter of faith. Do I believe that there's an eternal God that exists, that created all things, that's intelligent, and he just always was? I mean, one of the things I always look to is, even the very name of God, which I think is the second question, is like he's the I am. He just, I am who I am, right? Like he is just always has been. So no one created God. God is just always has been. And so it is very difficult for us as finite beings who have a beginning and end to understand something that has no beginning and has no end, that stands outside of time, that stands outside of space, that is just on a completely different, plane of reality than we are.
It reminds me of when Tess and Luke were little, and they would have this question, because we would talk about, God made everything and God created the world, and they're like, but who created God? And how? Or I think what Tess would say was, but how did God start? And I'm like, it's a great question, but it's not something we get to know. Like we are so in our human minds, like linear thinkers, and we want timelines, and we want starting points, and we want finishing points, and we want to see things in that way. And this is one of those things we don't get to know because our minds don't have the capacity to know it. So, and it's not like what we have to refer to as the Bible, and the Bible does not tell us how God came to be. So we don't get to know, but it's something we get to wonder about when we, stand in awe of him and how someone can just be. Like, it's kind of mind-blowing, but I think it's supposed to be, because we're not supposed to understand it all.
Yeah. And what we started the whole question off with at the beginning was it's all a matter of faith. Mm-hmm. Can I believe that God is what the Bible says he is? And that's any religion that you'll find in the world. I mean, there's going to be things that are just outside of the bounds of reality as we see it and perceive it. And so a lot of it always comes down to faith, but we also faith is a two-way street though. Like, we put our faith, if we don't put our faith in God and a being eternal and creating all things and everything, we're going to put our faith into the things of this world and the things that man suggests how everything came to be. A lot of that's a matter of faith too. Because there's no way to prove that, if a scientist says that, the universe is trillions of years old or whatever, there's no way to actually prove that. And they can say, there's all these kinds of carbon dating, different ways of the scientific methods of proving it. But it's not really a strong science, because that it always changes. It's we were wrong. It's not 1 billion years. It's 1 trillion years, or it's a quadrillion years, or whatever. And it's just constantly in flux, which tells you everything, that there's no real, there's nothing concrete for them to hold on to. And so it's just as much a matter of faith as putting your faith into God. So everything as people ultimately comes down to a matter of faith. What are you going to put your faith in? Is that God is what the Bible says he is, or what man says the world and the universe is? Fair enough?
Yeah. So with some of these things, we'll find the long and short of it is we don't get to know. So
yeah. And ultimately that is it.
Yeah. So, okay, let's move on to question number 2. How did God get his name?
Well, yeah, so I guess we're talking about biblical name of God. Is that what we're talking about, or just God?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't say. It says, how did God get his name?
So I mean, God is a human expression for a being that is greater than what we can understand. So man calls God because he is something beyond what we understand. He's something that is Lord over everything, sovereign over everything. So that in human terms, we use the lower G, God, in a way to define anything that we can't that's outside. And it's, I mean, a lot of times what you see it in is I'm not trying to see it mythology and all that kind of stuff, gods. Mm-hmm. Capital G, God, how we refer to God as God, is recognizing him as the master of all things. He oversees all things. He is all knowing, all powerful. and true. So he gets the proper name, capital G, God, because he is the true God. Then biblically speaking, like we get into the name that he gives the people to call him. Because where is it? In Exodus? Yeah, a couple places in Exodus. It says in Exodus 3. Then Moses said to God, if I come to the people of Israel and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What shall I say? And God said to Moses, I am who I am, which is where they get the name Yahweh, which is, I believe, is Hebrew for just that. I am who I am, or I am, along those lines. So and a lot of times they would spell it out because they never wanted to like actually spell out the name of God because they felt like it was disrespectful and like he was too powerful to just like put his name into words. So they'd usually like shorthand it by like YHWH, Yahweh. It's the one who is. I'm sorry, Yahweh is the one who is. Neither here nor there. It's just he's the one that has always been. And so the name Yahweh is what people of like Judaism, like the Jewish faith, have continued to refer to him by. We usually just say God.
Yes, in our current culture today, we say God with a capital G. We understand that to mean like God. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they would use that YHWH, and they would. We say Yahweh, but however they said it. But when that gets translated, there's a little fun fact that we learned through like the Bible recap and the Bible in a year that we are doing and we've done before. So when you are reading the Bible and you see Lord, all capital letters, like capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, that is the translation from, correct me if I'm wrong,
from Yahweh. Yes.
So because there's lots of like, people will call people Lord in common language, not meaning the Lord our God, but they're just saying like lowercase Lord,
Someone that oversees like a land or like a province or something like that.
Yeah, so there are lots of lords, but if it is spelled out in capital letters, it is referring to Yahweh or God. And a lot of times just because of the different cultures back then, they would specify the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, like specifying this is the one I mean, because lots of cultures had lots of gods. And so you did have to be specific. So, I mean, we call him God today, but back then, yeah, it was Yahweh, Jehovah,
so many names for God.
Yes.
Luckily, nobody asked us, what are all the different names of God? Because we would be here all night.
But it is kind of cool to know that there were different ways to refer to him, but it was with such reverence. I've heard this said, I don't know, I heard it on like a podcast that even when they would like be writing down scripture, and if they wrote the word Yahweh, they would get a new pen to do it, and then they wouldn't use that pen anymore, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like a new, like fresh ink to even write the word.
Yes.
That's speculation, but that's how much even the word
they revered it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the minds of this.
Ben Stewart that was talking about that? That sounds very familiar. Like we just heard that very recently, but it's very fascinating nonetheless. Yeah. So it's a special name. And honestly, we should have more reverence for the name of God than we sometimes do. I mean, think about how often people use it in vain, like as almost like as a curse. It's like that's something we should look at and be like, that should bother me more.
Yeah.
When people say the like OMG or anything like that, it's like, maybe we do need to have more reverence for the name of God.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Third question.
Yes. So next question, how did God create the heavens and the earth, and how did Jesus rise from the dead? This is a multifaceted, complex question.
Yeah, it's once again, all faith matters. And we don't know specifically how God created it. Now, what we understand, like what science helps us understand is like everything that God brought together, like down to the molecular level, which is fascinating. Like we understand all the elements and everything that God created to create everything, like which is really, really cool. Like we never have to like look at like science as in competition with God. It's science helps us understand what God did, which is really, kind of incredible. So yeah, how did God create the heavens and the earth? From nothing, which is it's so insane for us to even try to comprehend as people, because we cannot create from nothing. Right. Like when we say we start from scratch, that means we still are starting with some level of elements in front of us. Like I cooked dinner tonight for our family, and I cooked dinner from scratch. But scratch meant that I had to grab all the different ingredients for it to put together that chicken dish, which was very good. It was excellent. It
was. You started with ingredients, though. We can't comprehend starting with nothing and making it into something.
Yeah. Imagine having a table that you're working from for dinner, and in front of you is nothing. Yeah. And then in an hour you have a chicken dish. Right. Like you can't do that, but that's what God can do, because God is a creator. Once again, outside of our comprehension of how things work, but we're talking about eternal being versus finite being. So like, as far as, the order in which God created, you can go to Genesis 1. And maybe now is a good time for you to start a Bible reading plan, because you're going to start with that, and like just see what God created in the order that He created everything over those 6 days of creation, and then the 1 day of rest. Very, very powerful stuff. Next, part 2 of a very complicated question is, how did Jesus rise from the dead? Only by the power of God could Jesus rise from the dead. Now, this Jesus is God. It's just one of those things that we do have to remember in this, is that Jesus took on the body of a man, became man, could feel all the things of man, but was also still God. So it was by the power of God that He could die and then be resurrected 3 days later. Now, in those 3 days, Jesus was doing some stuff. Like, it wasn't just laying still. Like, the body might have been laying still. God form. I don't know how else you want to kind of put that. Conquered all that needed to be conquered.
And again, we can't fathom it because it's outside of the laws of everything we know in this world. Like, people don't just rise from the dead unless God makes it happen. You know what I mean? So it is one of those things where it's hard to wrap our minds around it, but the only person that could do that is the creator of the world. So it does take faith to believe it, but it takes faith to believe anything that you believe, you know what I mean? And take it as fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like the Bible's going to, spell out the science behind how this stuff happens. You know what I mean?
It'd be cool to understand it, but yeah, yes. I don't think you can, once again, because this is a God-only thing.
Right. This side of heaven, we don't get to know this stuff. But that's what faith is you have to trust that God had a plan and has a plan, and He's seeing that plan through even in your own lives today. But this was obviously the pivotal point in His entire plan for creation, is He sent someone to redeem us. So this is huge. It's a huge piece of our faith. And it's kind of mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't fully get to understand how it happens, but it's more that it happened.
Yeah, I like to look at it as, or just like on this topic of like, and remembering too, is like Jesus is the firstborn from the dead. Like, and what that means is like, He's the first one to die and then be resurrected and never die again. Like when we see in the Bible, like Lazarus, for example, and he dies and he's, brought back to life. He still died later, not like that day or anything, but later on in his human life.
He did not live forever.
Yeah. So like Jesus is the first example of somebody that like died and then just lived.
Yes.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Food for thought. I don't know why I threw that in there.
It's a good way to think about it. Yep. Okay, so next question. How many people in the Bible was Jesus related to?
Like everybody. Like, so one of the things, I mean, the whole story of the Bible, not story, like in a, like, I mean, it's still like the overarching story of the Bible is essentially the lineage by which Jesus came to be, right? So like it's foretold, like prophecy is foretold that from the line of David, that Jesus would come. What we understand is like from the tribe of Judah, who David is part of. So Jesus is related all the way back to David, but David's related all the way back basically to Abraham. I mean, everybody's related back to Abraham. That's an Israelite, right? Like a true born Israelite comes out of the 12 tribes. Abraham is essentially the father of all of that. Like I believe Jacob is the actual father of the 12 tribes. But without Abraham and God making that promise to Abraham to have Isaac, Isaac would have Jacob. So Jesus related all the way back to Abraham, but then if you really look at the lineage, and if you look at, I think it's Luke's the genealogy found in Luke, like chapter 3 or something. Like I can't remember specifically. I think it's Luke 3.
Yeah, there's 2 genealogies. One's in
Matthew and one in Luke. Yeah, I believe it's Luke's, because Luke was ultra detailed. Like he's a doctor, ultra detailed, and I think he takes the lineage all the way back to Adam, if I'm not mistaken. So like. Jesus is related to like everybody in the Bible, essentially. Jesus' physical, form. Like, I mean, Jesus in God's sense is beyond all.
For sure,
like relation, right? Like he's connected to all of us because he's part of the Creator God, of the universe. So.
Yes, and that was, just to clarify too, so they actually trace back Joseph's lineage, so his earthly family that he's connected to.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying, I guess that's what I was trying to.
Yeah. The earthly family that he's connected to, they trace the whole way back. Yeah. But obviously being fully man and fully God, he's a little different, you know what I mean? Yeah. So.
He's not Joseph's blood.
Exactly. Yes.
So but like he is in that family.
Right. Exactly.
So hopefully that's helpful.
Well, and speaking of Joseph, that is the next question. It says, how did Joseph, Jesus' dad, die?
Some of these questions today are like, we don't know. And like, I don't know. Or we can't know.
I know. That's what I said. I'm like, some of these we don't get to know.
Yeah. I would almost say all of these questions we don't really get to know today specifically. But Joseph is kind of an interesting case where
he's mentioned throughout his childhood, I think, but then we don't hear much after that about Joseph.
Yeah, basically there's kind of like a time jump.
Yes.
In Luke where like you see Jesus, like you hear of Jesus as a child, like when the wise men come, all of that, like in those first few years. And then Joseph's not mentioned again, like really after that, especially during Jesus' ministry years, which is from the age of 30 to 33, right? Joseph is nowhere to be found. You hear all about Mary. Speculation is like there's I don't even think there's any extra biblical kind of reference to Joseph or his death or anything. But it's assumed that Joseph is dead at some point. Now, and like speculation too is that even when he was engaged to Mary, he was older. And like she was like somewhere around 15 or 16, which was common for a girl to get married off at that age, 15, 16. And some scholars, theologians, like estimate that like Joseph could have been 30-ish years old, like quite a bit older, but like somebody that had some means, because in those days, like the marriages were arranged. It was like dowries and all this kind of stuff to make it happen. So there was some assumption there that Joseph was older already. Lifespans weren't as long at that time. And so like he just wasn't, he died early.
Yeah. I mean, by the time Jesus is on the cross being crucified, and he's basically telling his brother to care for his mother, that indicates that Joseph's no longer in the picture.
Yeah,
because
that's a really good point too.
To assign the care of your mother to someone else means the father's not there to do so.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too much on Joseph. Joseph's kind of like he's only there for the nativity, like the Christmas story, and then he's no more.
Okay, last question for today. Why did people live so long in the Bible?
That's a really good question. And once again, it comes down to a lot of like speculation and interpretation of things. So when we look at, it's really just Genesis that we see this, because it's the understanding is that, I mean, scientifically speaking, scientific speculation is that after the flood, the Earth's atmosphere changed. Like a lot of things changed to the world, which caused lifespans to decrease greatly. Because up to that point, like up before the flood, lifespans seemed to be getting longer and longer. Like I think Methuselah is the oldest that's in the Bible. I think it's like 940-ish years. I can't remember. Something like that. 914. There's a 4 in there. The whole thing is like, so Methuselah is the longest living, 900 years. And, you know, there's a lot of individuals that live like really, really long lives. It's like, I forget, I don't know if it's like chapter 7 or 8, somewhere early on in Genesis. It gives like kind of like a breakdown of these are who lived, and this is like the child that came from them, and they lived this many years. And it's all like, you know, 600, 700, 800 years up to Methuselah. And then after the flood, it goes down drastically. It's like down to like 100 years, and then like guys are living into their like 60s and 70s, and it's down. It's just the quality of life changed greatly after the flood. We're assuming, like our scientists are assuming, that Earth's atmosphere changed, which changed the plant life, changed vegetation, changed seasons, changed everything. And so that's just what happened. So yeah, they lived long because maybe there's more purity. I have no idea.
Yeah, there's a speculation too, just because if creation started with one man and one woman, and then they have to kind of procreate from there, the genetics were a little bit different. There was not any like genetic mutations, and there wasn't as much like disease and things that we face today. Was not going on as much, so it wasn't as much of a problem. And then at a certain point, it does become like God's like, all right, you cannot procreate with like relatives. You know what I mean? Like, but it is so interesting. We talked about this on Sunday a little bit. If you even read just the first few books in Genesis, like sometimes just that amount of information, like I think it was like 5, 6, and 7, where they cover a lot of this, and like in creation in the first few chapters, and then the fall, and then like all of this, it kind of jumps forward, and it does talk about a lot of people, and then like Noah and the flood and all of that. There's just some like mind-blowing information in there, and like if you've not ever actually sat down and read that, it is worth the time, because you will definitely learn something you did not know. I would have some kind of reference or guidance kind of going along with it. Like we do the Bible recap where she kind of summarizes what you just read, but there's all kinds of like just a study Bible, like that sort of thing. Something to help you kind of make sense of what you're learning. But, we said this, and we said this on Sunday, there are definitely parts of the Bible that are just a little more difficult to get through, but by and large, the entire Bible, like anybody who says it's boring has not read it, because like it's fascinating. No, it's like there's so much in there that's like, whoa, I didn't even know that. And like just trying to wrap your mind around it, and like it will put you in awe of God, which is where we are supposed to be. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I don't know how you can read it and not go, whoa.
There's parts of it that are slower than others.
For sure.
For sure. I don't want to like oversell, and then you're like, oh wait, there's definitely slower parts to it. There's like some things that it's just straight information. You're like, how does this pertain to my life right now? And they're getting into, like, especially I think it's numbers where there's like literally like, we have this many of these things, we have this many of these things. I mean, there's other things in numbers that it's good. I don't even know if it's numbers for sure, but
there's a lot of that kind of scattered in the Old Testament. Tons of detail, tons of
so much detail,
tons of just. But we're not necessarily like, I think the best way to digest and enjoy scripture is not to look for like, how does this pertain to me? It's more so like, what can I learn about God through this?
Absolutely.
And that, if you read through that lens, like every day, you're going to learn something new.
That's a good point. I like that. Also, Methuselah.
Okay.
969 years.
Oh, wow.
No fours.
No four. No.
I was confident.
969. Wow.
Yeah. It literally was right in front of me this whole time on the paper. So good job, Steve. All right. But yeah.
Fact checked yourself.
Hey, at least I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong.
We do like to give correct information, but
I want you to leave here with solid information, even though today it's a lot of stuff that's just unknowable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Fortunately and unfortunately, it's fortunate because it's fascinating that we like get to be part of something so great and grand in relationship with God and knowing God, and this faith walk and journey is just like it's shrouded in mystery. But that's kind of like, I find that to be more fascinating than like knowing everything.
Yes, we should kind of be in awe of God and just kind of wonder about some things. I don't think he wants us to have all the answers, but I think he wants us to continue to look to him and lean on him.
For sure. So good stuff today.
Yeah, I like those questions.
We have a few more categories to cover. I think we have like 3 or 4 more categories to go through. So that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us Beyond Sunday. I'm Steve.
I'm Sarah.
And we will see you next time.